Good evening and welcome. I'm Bob Pace. I'm your host for the podcast Fight CPS. Stop Taking Our Children. I want to warmly welcome all of you to the live podcast from California, Southern California. Now, unfortunately, we have been having issues with the child protection system. The child protection system is a government entity that is responsible to protect our children. But also, they're supposed to help out families, and they're not doing a very good job. They're supposed to protect their children from neglect or abuse. And when their families are broken apart by them, they're supposed to help you back together with family reunification. Apparently, people forgot about family reunification. The CPS has. So the next hour, I'm going to try to help you fight CPS. I'm not an attorney, but I'm a loving father of 6 children and a husband of 32 years, and I've been fighting them for 15 years. They are an evil agency, worse than the IRS. They don't know anything about people skills. They do trafficking children into foster care. They do alienation from parents from children, which is illegal. All that's illegal. And on top of that, they make money. It's a money-making business. A tune of $80 billion a year. And how they make their money? Well, for every child or every case they open, the federal government pays the state, and the state in turn will pay the county $20,000 per child per month. In my case, in Orange County, it was $60,000 for 3 children. If you had 100 families with 3 children, that's $6 million in 1 month. Welcome, Diane Gallagher. And she says, I had court the other day, and court isn't going well. My kids are in foster care, and my life is hell. I wrote goodbye notes to each of my kids. I can't handle the pain I feel inside anymore. Well, I'm so sorry, Diana, but hopefully I can help you out by telling what you could do or can do with your children. Welcome, Yoda Fox. And Yoda Fox says, Christian Lyra. I have no idea what that means, Yoda, but Diane and Yoda, can you tell me what city and state or country you're from? That'd be great. Okay, Yoda, I don't know who's me, Bob, but you are Lenina. Oh, are you Chris? Are you Chris? Okay, Diana lives in Rhode Island, Greenwich. I know where Greenwich is. I've been there. It's a pretty place. Uh, okay, I didn't know what Yoda Fox was. That's something new for me, but that's right. You now have gotten on the podcast. Congratulations. Chris is a young man that's going through a custody battle with his daughter. And his mother is very abusive, and his mother now reported his child to CPS. But anyway, I welcome you all to my room. Yoda is from Huntington Beach, California. And Diana Gallagher is from Greenwich, Rhode Island. Welcome you both to my podcast. And I'll see if I can help you. Now, I'm starting my podcast off. There's some ground rules I take care of, or how you can interact with the podcast. So I need to cover that first before we do phone calls and so forth. Now, there's 3 ways you can interact with this podcast. One way is you can call in. There's my phone number, 626-698-0990. But hold on a minute before you call that number. So I need to get this other stuff done. That'll take you to my phone. Now, I'm on 7 days a week, twice a day. Monday through Sunday, I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning, except on Sunday, I'm on at 8. And on the evening, I'm on at 7 o'clock. And those are Pacific Standard Times for 1 hour. So my phone is open, for those 14 hours. And I appreciate anybody that comes to this room. I give you a warm hug because you need it. You've been hurt so bad with your children abruptly taken by CPS. The child protection system is corrupt. You can't trust them. You can't trust them. I'll get in that more there. Now, a second way that you can interact with this room, and you're doing it right now, is that you can do comments. Now, comments are great. All I ask you is when you're typing in a comment or texting in a comment that it's about CPS. It has to be something related to CPS questions. Please show your name, city, state, or country, because we do have people from all around the world. We have right now 12 countries represented, and I get more every day. Be complete with your CPS case. I don't want to play ping pong ball and go back and forth, ask a question, you answer it. Try to relate your whole case before we actually start the talking. Like, it's several parts. One part is, what is your family makeup? Is your family makeup a partnership, a girlfriend, boyfriend, a husband, wife, or is it lovers? You may have just had children out making love. Okay. Tell me what your relationship is, and then how many children and the sexes and so forth. I said good night to my boys who are going out. It's Friday night, and they like to go out, so that is good. I try to take care of my family. I have a family of 6, and I have right now 4 at home. My other children are out and about. I have 2 groups of children, young children, older children, and I'm missing some of my children. Actually, some of my children were taken by CPS. I'll tell you about that soon. Yeah, I've lost a lot with CPS. I've lost a lot. Not only have I lost my children, but I've also lost a home that I sold so I could hire an attorney. I've lost my credit. So I have no credit. Took me 4 years to get my home. It's gone. My firstborn daughter is gone. And my secondborn daughter is gone too. And the second one was really a tragedy. Now I'm going to try to get a hold of some people that are normally in here. Get a hold of Faye in Richmond, Kentucky, so she can join it. She's making hot dog spaghetti tonight. That sounds good. And then I'm going to get a hold of Danielle, who's my co-host, who's had a computer problem, and she has been on for a month. So hopefully she will join us. That's Danielle from Georgia. And then I have Natalie from West Hollywood, California. I sent her a request. Okay, we got some more people in the room or more comments. Diana Gallagher, I love to call you. Did you say I can't talk? No, you can talk this evening. I just want to make sure I tell everybody how they interact with this podcast. Yes, in a few minutes you can call me. I was just talking about the comments of how to do comments. Phone calling, comments, and the last thing I'll tell you is how to be a guest. But on the comments, now, so far, I've had some new countries, by the way. I've had Bangladesh and New Delhi, India. I've had 2 new countries, Bangladesh, New Delhi, India. And then, of course, I've had from Africa, I've had Rwanda, Liberia. Liberia is on the north part of Africa on the west coast. Rwanda is the middle of East Africa. And then there's Mozambique, which is south of Somalia and above South Africa and across from Madagascar. And then from Europe, I've had United Kingdom, England, Scotland, Wales, and I've had Sweden and Denmark. Then I've had Mexico and Canada. I just had a recent call from Canada yesterday. And then I have Australia. And of course, all the 50 states and the territory. I had Washington, D.C. the other day. So I talked to people around the U.S., about 500 of you. And I've talked to almost every city in every state. Not every city, but every state in the U.S. And they all have one thing in common. Their children were taken illegally. They were hurt in foster care. And they were trafficking. And they were alienated. It's sad what CPS can do with that. Now, Diane, just a moment. I'll get you next. There's one last step on your act. This room is to be a guest on the show. To schedule to be a guest on our show, you need to contact our show producer. Her name is Grace. She works behind the scenes. I thank her very much for what she does. She keeps me in line and keeps the show rolling and so forth. But she'll help you be a guest on the show by giving you the link. I'm broadcasting on YouTube using the StreamYard application. You found me on Facebook, How to Fight CPS. And then Grace will put you on the show. She'll give you the link and tell you what you can do as a guest on the show. No food and no smoking. So all you do is write her email, grace@vincentwdavis.com. That's grace@vincentwdavis.com. And she'll put you on one of my 14 shows. You just say, I want to be a Bob's Wednesday evening show or Bob's Monday morning show. You tell her one of the 14 shows and she'll get you on there. I'd love to have you as my guest. Yes, and you can talk about my case. Okay, I'm going to put the phone number up. because now I can start taking phone calls. My phone number is 626-698-0990. And I think Diana wanted to call in from Rhode Island. Diana Gallagher, the phone is open to you to call in. Diane Gallagher, you can call in. If you want to talk tomorrow evening, that's good too. You don't have to talk tonight. Anybody. So, Diane, do you still want to call in or you want to wait till tomorrow evening? Diana, do you still hear me? Do you still want to call in? That's no problem, Diane. You can call in tomorrow. If you want to be a guest, you can schedule to be a guest. But you can call in tomorrow. My show will be live. I'll be on Saturday night at 7 o'clock. Saturday night, that's Pacific Standard Time at 7 o'clock. I'll be on the morning on Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning. So, there are 4 rules that I have that I talk about that will help you. And I'll go over them in detail in just a moment. But the rules are hire an attorney, the right kind of attorney, do your paperwork and organize it, do not talk to social workers or police, and do not let them take your children, whether in your home or at the hospital. And lastly is the research. You want to research as much as you can about CPS in your area. The internet will be your power. The internet will be your power. You can win your case. Thank you, April, for the emoji. I appreciate that. Well, don't leave the room yet, Diana. You may want to hear some more I have to say. I want to cheer you up. You sounded so dismal. So stay with us, Diana. So Yoda Fox, what's the latest? Chris, what's the latest on your dilemma with your mom reporting your young child to CPS? What's the latest, Yada? Or Yoda? I keep saying Yada. Yoda. I think you're talking about the Star Wars Yoda. I think Chris is a Cherokee Indian. He was wearing a feather the other day. It's kind of cool. But I'm open to you guys calling in or text your questions. I'll talk about some rules and some topics. I have about 105 topics here, so if you want to talk about forensic therapists, what is a clinical therapist? Does CPS have too much power? The DCFS 101 publication, Legal Dictionary, the meaning of tall in legal sense. I have a lot of subjects I can talk about. Okay, I guess Chris has stepped away, And Diana is going to go for the night. You have a good night, Diana. And now it's open up to anybody that wants to talk. I have lots I can say, but I always like to let you guys try to talk. So, hmm. CPS is really a hard thing to deal with. I have some examples of CPS and what they really are, what they are as far as workers. The child protection system, and it has different names in every state. In California, it's called the CPS, the Child Protection Services. In Arizona, it's called the Department of Children's Services. And in Kentucky, it's the Department of Children and Families. So when I say CPS, I'm talking about the CPS system, wherever it's called in your state. So when I say CPS, I'm doing a blanket statement. But you got to learn how to fight this agency because they don't care about your constitutional rights. They don't care about your civil rights. They just insist to take your children when they're not in imminent danger. That's the bad part. They use their weight of authority too aggressively. They use the police as intimidators. Now, there's a group of 8 lady social workers decided to go out and get pink t-shirts. And on the front of the t-shirt in Prescott, Arizona in the year 2022, they put professional kidnappers. And then on the back, they said, "Do you know where your children are at?" Now, they paraded those t-shirts, all 8 of those social workers, at Costco, Walmart, Target. And it really infuriated the general public. And of course, they were fired working at CPS. All 8 of them were, including the director. He was fired also. Because that's disgusting to see anybody out there saying something like that. Professional kidnappers. But those are the animals you're dealing with. And I'm sorry to be so harsh against CPS social workers. I've had one on the show. Her name was Carol from Maryland. She was very sweet and nice. And she talked about how well she was doing her unification with her people and how they administrated and protected the children. And she also further said that she had a clinical psychology degree, plus she went for 6 months of additional training by the state of Maryland. I wish she was on because she was, as I say, a very sensible woman. You could have learned a lot from her. But do not trust a social worker. Just think of the pink ladies. They're professional kidnappers. Now, another social worker, and this is recent, in the last month, they wrote on their Facebook, and this is the sad part, black children for sale. Now, the last time I heard that black were for sale was when the slave traders 200 years ago in Africa were selling their people off. But that social worker in the year 2024 found that ad from 1848, put it on her Facebook page, and I don't know what she's trying to promote. because it's the year 2024. It isn't 1848. That was 10 years before the Civil War, 140 years ago. But she put it on today's Facebook, not today, but a month ago. And that is sad. That is really, really sad. So you can imagine the reaction that people had about that ad. So that's a second example of what social workers really are. That's the second example. Now, if that's not bad enough for you to think about, what about this social worker? A male investigator social worker went to investigate a young child at school. She was only a 13-year-old girl. He approached the school and asked to speak to one of the children. That school did not call the parent, which is wrong. They have to call the parent. They cannot, they're not supposed to go and talk to children without the parent knowing. Now, in my case in California, they tried that where they wanted to interview our children at school. So they wanted to interview our youngest, who was at an elementary school. And the principal said, you parents got to come down. Someone is calling to investigate your children. We weren't allowed in the room, but we're at the school where they were there. And of course, my young child didn't say anything wrong, so they dropped it. CPS was determined. But what happened in this case, this man went out, the school allowed him to take the girl, and he said, I want a private room. So they let him use one of the rooms with no one else present. And here's a man alone with a 13-year-old girl that's not his daughter. in the room and he tells her to disrobe and he takes pictures. He's a pedophile working for CPS. Yes, working for CPS. The daughter came home, told the mother, and the mother called CPS, and that guy was fired. That is wrong. You always have in twos, you have to have two adults present, and you don't take off pictures. I mean, that was stupid. Can you imagine? And the school is stupid for allowing that to happen. Our children are supposed to be protected in school. They're not. They're not. That child was abused at school by a social worker working for CPS. And he was a pedophile. Now, he was terminated, but when the mother approached the police about filing criminal charges, the police said, well, there's nothing we can do. And this is so stupid. First of all, the school's at wrong. The mother can sue the school district for allowing a stranger with a child. There's a golden rule that everybody says to our children: never talk to strangers. So we need to tell our children never talk to strangers. Never say anything. Never say anything. Oh, I hope I get some food soon. I am so hungry. God. Makes you kind of weak, but I'll get something. So that's the third example of a social worker. Now, in my case, when I had a social worker that stole our children, they weren't in imminent danger. They're in school at the time. They took our children. How is a child in imminent danger at school? You see, what's happened is that the agency, the CPS system, says anytime there's an allegation you're guilty, and they immediately remove children when they're not in extreme danger. So my 3 children were removed. Now my daughter, who's not the youngest, was coached and ordered by the CPS worker. I had a CPS worker. She was 23, no college degree, no experience in social work, no license, with very little experience. And during my case, the 3 years my case was involved in CPS, there was an attempt by my wife's sister to adopt our daughter. People get some weird concepts. I don't know. I'd lost my job in 2010 through no fault of my own. And when that happened, unbeknownst to me, my in-laws started to call in and complaining that we weren't taking care of our children. They never did really like us. They didn't come to our wedding. My wife is really upset with them. I mean, we didn't really find out they're the ones making all the calls. See, for 5 years, I had to deal with social workers every week. And most of the time, I talked to them outside, or I did leave them in my house. But at that time, there was nothing wrong with my house. But they're determined, after 5 years, to traffic our children. Well, when they're going on the trial, they wanted to determine if it's safe for our daughter to be with my wife's sister and husband. And the question was asked by the social worker, by my attorney that I sold my house later and got him. That was Vincent W. Davis. He was cross-examined, and was there any history of domestic violence with my wife's sister and her husband? And of course, the social worker says no. They're upstanding young people. Be fine for your daughter. Well, what she didn't know that my attorney, Mr. Davis, had police logs and instances of domestic violence happening at my sister's home and her husband. So the social worker was cut with mud on her face. But she wanted to retaliate. And when she retaliated, she took revenge on us. And she said to us parents, "You're never going to see your daughter again." And so what she proceeded to do is tell her daughter, divorce your parents, divorce your brothers, divorce your grandparents, divorce your cousins, your aunts, uncles. And then they said to change your name, and the ice in the straw is being adopted. So, she divorced her parents, she changed her name, and then she was adopted. And she did this all from the coaching of the social worker. When the social worker lied on the stand about domestic violence, she had mud on her face. And when she was doing revenge, that was wrong. She ruined it. We've lost her daughter. She is now 22, July 9th. I still miss her from the last time I saw her at 12. And it hurts me. It hurts me so much to think about I can't enjoy my time with my daughter. Oh, Faye, thank you for being here. Oh, how did that spaghetti hot dog meal come out? I could use some food, really could. I did have shrimp with my son and some sushi, so we had something there. That was my son. He tries to take care of us so good sometimes. But I still don't know what I'm going to do for dinner. So, Faye from Richmond, Kentucky, is there anything you'd like to talk about? Any particular topic? Or go over anything that that you like to talk about? Hi, Henry. Henry Nada. Wow. Faye says, why people think it's okay to let a 16-year-old pregnant kid smoke weed. Well, who is saying it's okay? Is CPS says it's okay? Who's saying it's okay to smoke weed at 16? In California, you have to be 21 before you can smoke weed. Doesn't Kentucky have a law that have an age limit to smoking weed? Henry, where are you from? And welcome. You said yes to something, but I don't know what you said yes to. But Henry Yanada from somewhere. Are you from do you have a city, state, or country that you're from? That is awful, Faye, that anybody would think it's okay to smoke weed. I've never talked to anybody like that. It's, you got to be over the age of 21 to do anything. And I didn't know that marijuana is everyday marijuana use okay in Kentucky, or is it just medicinal? Medicinal? Well, I didn't think you smoked, Henry. That was directed to Faye. She's asking about 16-year-olds. I don't know where you're from, Henry, but I'd like to see your state or country that you're from. That'd be great. It was Michigan that allows 16-year-olds to smoke weed. I never heard anything. I think you have to be 21 in Michigan to smoke alcohol. I mean, to drink alcohol. Henry, what would you like to talk about? I'm here in my room here. Well, I'm not getting much luck on topics here, but I'm going to go over my rules. I already told you about four of them in the beginning. I short over them. But one of the most important rule is you need some type of legal help. Henry, I have no idea if you're from a country. I never heard of. Is that Zaire? Zaire from Africa? Matalanga? Anyway, I have no idea what you're trying to say, Henry. This is a room about child protection system and how we can help each other and help you all. It isn't a room to be funny in or to make, funny about stuff, okay? I take child protection services very seriously. It's an awful, awful agency. It's very corrupt. They're not transparent, and they kidnap children and they alienate children. So it's very, very important. So Henry, if you, okay, you're sorry, but is that really the country? ZA? What does ZA stand for? And Montlinga. ZA, is that Zaire in Africa? I know there's a country called ZIRE. So with rule number one, you need to get legal help. You need to get help because you won't be able to fight them yourself. I thought I could. I thought I could do it first with a court appointed attorney. That was a waste of time. The court appointed attorney had 30 cases, way too many. He had no time to talk to me. The court appointed attorney wouldn't fight for me in court. When you have a court appointed attorney, you can't say anything in court. It's better if you pro se, meaning you defend it yourself. So after fighting with the director and the managers and the peoples and writing emails and all this stuff, I hired Vincent Davis. Vincent W. Davis is an experienced lawyer. He has 35 years of experience. He has fought CPS. He's gotten children back. He's also done civil suits, both at the state level and at the federal level, where he's won millions of dollars fighting them. He has, 35 years of experience of fighting CPS. He's a trial attorney. He knows juvenile family dependency law. That's the area you got to get in there. Now, if you contact him at that number, 888-888-6582, you want to set up a consultation with Mr. Davis. Tell the people when they call that number that Bob Pace sent you and that you want to consult with Vincent Davis. It's 30 minutes for $60. It's 30 minutes for $60. And you should call at that number. Faye further says, she says, tell people, because she had her doctor prescribed her a medical card to avoid getting in trouble. This was another state. I told her CPS would take her kids away from that and that she got mad and blocked me. Well, I got news for you. No doctor is going to prescribe a medical card for marijuana for anybody under the age of 21. That 16-year-old is called a minor. And no daughter, the doctor will lose his license. Now, it's a federal law that says you're on federal property, you cannot smoke marijuana. It's illegal. You can't do medical marijuana. Now, some states, California, Colorado, have allowed medical marijuana. Now, recently, California now, I guess, has allowed smoking marijuana in your home, but it doesn't mean you're going to smoke it in front of your kids. Anybody that's, under the age of 21, you can't smoke when they're around. You cannot smoke. Not any medical. And again, drugs are bad. That's drugs. And she blocked you. Well, good riddance. She is lost. She is totally lost. That woman that allows kids to smoke marijuana. That's wrong. Anyway, Henry, I still don't know where you're from. With your last name, it almost looks like maybe it's from some place in Africa. And ZA, I think it stands for Zaire. I can look that up. I wish I could copy that, but anyway. Going back to rule number 1, get that strategy session with Vincent Davis. You'd be glad you did. And if you like him, you can retain him. He works in all the 50 states. He works in Northern California. And he knows how to fight CPS and win. He knows how to fight CPS and win. So I tell you to do that. So that's my rule number 1. And you never regret having an attorney because you need someone who knows how to navigate CPS. CPS, if you're in CPS, you're Alice in Wonderland. It is a crazy place. You've fallen in a rabbit hole in your garden. And you're dealing with people that are crazy, that will lie, cheat. They're not transparent. They're not accountable for anything. And they will traffic your children. So rule number 1 is that. Now, rule number 2 is the notebook. We need to keep organizing of our paperwork. I've been really bad at that. I write on envelopes and Post-it notes and pieces of paper. We need to keep it all organized. To do so, you find out the legal papers are 8.5 by 11. So you want to get a notebook, 8.5 by 11. And the thickest one, I think, is 6 inches. You might have to get several of them. Because I know mine would take 6 notebooks. 6 inches thick is 24 inches. In there be 3 rings so you can punch holes and put your paperwork in there. You want to get subject tabs to organize it. You want one for the court papers, one for your parenting classes, one for your programs, one for your results of your drug test, one for the incidents. The incidents are something really important. Anything that happens related to your children, CPS, should be recorded as incident. It could be with the school, the kids, the parents, the neighbors, the police, the CPS. All you do, you start it with the oldest first. So you put down the date, the time, the location, and the people that are involved. Then the next line, you put down what the incident was about. They took my children from my home. I went to the office and gave them my children. Then you want to put the outcome. What happened? If you don't know if it's still ongoing, well, save some room and come back later and fill it out. Then you repeat that, put the next incident, and repeat so forth, and give some spaces between each incident. But that's really important because you're not going to remember it 6 months from now. So you need to record that information. You also need a subject area for what you find out, an info page listing all the phone numbers, names of people that can help you, websites you can visit and stuff. So you need that. Then you want to highlight it in pink and yellow so you can find things really easy. But there's lots of subject tabs anyway. You need to organize it. You need to have it so you pick up the book, you walk to court, you walk to your attorney, or you can show it to the judge or something like that. You keep track of everything. Hey, Happy Feet. Happy Feet is from Arizona, if I remember correctly. Welcome, Happy Feet. I'm glad you stopped in. We have a new person in the room, Henry, but I don't know where he's from. Oh, the abbreviation for SA. I found it, you guys. I found it. Henry's from South Africa, a new country. We have Henry from South Africa. He's from a country called Mpumalanga. M-U-M-A. M-U-M-A. M-U-L-L-A. M-U-L-A. Okay, it is spelled with a P. I'm so sorry, Henry. Henry is from South Africa. It's one of the provinces of South Africa, like a state. The name means east, or literally the place where the sun rises. It's in the eastern part of South Africa, bordering Eswatini and Mozambique. It shares border with South Africa province of Limpopo to the north. So welcome. Henry, I figured it out. I'm sorry it took me so long. So we have a new country. No, it's not Zaire, Faye. I found it. It's spelled Mpumalanga. It's a province of South Africa. ZA is abbreviation for South Africa. But thank you, Faye. I thought it was there too, but it's not. It's South Africa. Now, Happy Feet just wanted to say that we got to see our baby. We'll get to see our baby tomorrow for a couple hours. I'm so happy. Happy Feet from Arizona gets to see her baby. She hasn't seen her baby in a long time. Yeah, that's okay, Faye, but thank you for helping me. But I found it. It's in South Africa. It's really cool. It's really a cool place. It's like a state of South Africa, but it's called a province. And it's a place where the sun rises. Yeah, it is near Mozambique. Mozambique is right above it. See, Mozambique is right above it, and it's at the north part of South Africa, where this Mpumalanga in South Africa. It was created in April 27th, 1994. So my question, Henry, what brings you here for the CPS? What brings you here for CPS, Henry? What brings you here for CPS? Do you have a question about CPS or a comment you want to make about CPS? How is the child protection system handled in that province of South Africa? Faye, we had Diane Gallagher, and she's going to call in tomorrow about her case. She's from Greenwich, Rhode Island. Diane is. And Yada Fox is Chris from Huntington Beach, California. Yada Fox. But I don't know if he's still here. I think it's Happy Feet, Faye, and me are the only ones left here, I think. Now, I told you about rule number 2, which was the notebook. Organize your paperwork. Rule 3 is you don't say anything more than yes or no to social workers or police. Don't let them in your home. Don't let them in your yard. Don't let them take your children. Don't talk to them. And if you want to avoid them, tell them, time out. I need to talk to my attorney before we go much further. Time out. I need to talk to my attorney before we go much further. Faye, Happy Feet from Arizona asks, how's everything going with you, Faye? Faye, Happy Feet is asking you that. Also, with rule number 3, is you do not let them in your home. There's only 3 ways that they can get in your home. 1, you give permission to let them in your home. 2, there's imminent danger going on, meaning that there's a shooting going on, a knife fighting, the child's being excessively beaten up, or there's domestic violence. They'll bring the police in and the social workers in. The 3rd way is a court order. They have to have a warrant signed by a judge that has a wet signature and the paper is embossed near that signature, so it's for real. Also, the warrant's got to be very explicit of what it says. It should be addressed to the person they're accusing it, what the allegations are, what children are involved, and the address where it's going to take place, and the date and time, and what they can do. Can they just do inspection? Are they taking the children or what? That has to be a legal document. If it's not there, you don't let them in the house. If you're outside, don't let them in the house. In fact, if you have a yard, make sure it says no trespassing. You can force people out of your property. You don't have to let anybody on your property. So remember that rule number 3. Also, with medical trafficking, either you're taking a child into urgent care because they're sick or you're having a baby. Be very careful. Child Protection Agency hangs out at those places and they con people into try to take their children. They do what's called medical trafficking, and that's illegal. That's illegal. Faye, Happy Feet from Arizona asks you, how's everything going? Okay. Now that's rule number 3 there. It's an important rule to remember. Now, rule number 4 is you do the research. You run a research, everything is in your area about CPS. You want to find out because the internet's going to be your savior. They're going to help you save. Okay? So those are my 4 rules. And guess what? My time's up. I've ended my time. It now is 8 o'clock. And it looks like I have to go. It went fast. And thank you, Faye, from Richmond, Kentucky, for being in the room. Thank you, Happy Feet from Arizona. And I'm so happy for you get to see your baby tomorrow. That is good news to me. Henry, you're my newest country now from South Africa. I'm glad you have a room. I'd love for you to talk some more. And that province, Mpumalanga, I'm going to learn more about it. But thank you for showing up, Henry. And Diane Gallagher, you said it'd be on tomorrow night. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. She's from Greenwich, Rhode Island. And Yada Fox is from Honey Beach, California. Thank you for coming tonight. So keep fighting for your kids. And I hope that you don't lose sight of that and your case gets better. God bless you. And this is Bob Pace signing off. And I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Saturday.